guys, my name is Ella Games, and welcome back to Let's Play the Letter. Where we last left off, tensions were rising in the group. Many people were fighting. Zach and Ashton got in a sort of an argument. Rebecca and Isabella got in a big argument. I think it ended with Rebecca saying she wished Isabella never even came here. It was a lot of it was something she shouldn't have said, because it's like, that's too far. But anyways, we are now, as we are still playing Ashton, we are at the mansion. He is going to the mansion by himself. Don't know what he expects to find. I hope he finds Marion. I hope nobody decided to follow us, even though I think Isabella might have followed us somehow. And also, Rebecca confessed her feelings to him, and obviously Ashton didn't feel the same way, because there's always somebody else. So, anyways, I'm going to take a quick look at this branching tree. I should be able to finish this up soon. Maybe within 2 or 3 episodes, maybe. I don't know. Who knows? But then we'll go to Luke's. But anyways, we're outside the Ermengarde mansion, and it looks exactly how it did at the beginning of the game. The rain fell in fast, steady sheets, creating shallow puddles on the dirt path, drenching everything the eyes can reach. I already can't read. Despite having grown up in the city, I still despise the rain. Living here doesn't mean I have to like it. Lucky me, I've reached the mansion before the downpour has turned torrential. The long slog from Ansel village by foot has already been made difficult by the light drizzle and biting winds buffeting against my body every few seconds. By the time I found cover under the trees lining the vicinity of the mansion, my shoulders are already drenched. My hair is also sticking against my skin and out in every possible direction. Thankfully, the letter, taser, and the gun I brought with me has remained relatively dry. That's the most important thing. However, those are the least of my problems at the moment. Sometime after the housewarming party, Scumbag, Wright, has suddenly grown a brand and tightened the security around the mansion. A guard is now stationed in every possible point of entry. The main entryway, the back door lead to the kitchens. Hell, it's almost a miracle no one has spotted me once I entered the property. Well, that's probably because I've kept close to the forest. While I can always create a clever way in for myself, under this deluge, it will be too difficult to do so without making much noise or leaving tracks.
I don't really have the luxury either, do I?
Considering how off this place feels since I've stepped in the property and the mansion came into view. All the lights are off. Even with the security personnel on patrol outside, the whole house itself, it feels empty, eerie, too quiet. Normally, I'll pass it off as some kind of power outage because of the storm. It's not a far-off conclusion when this place is almost in the middle of nowhere. However, something just feels wrong.
Something happened here.
Yeah, or about to. It's the sole reason why I haven't done anything yet. Simply observing, watching, listening for anything. I might be pressed for time, but I'm not a careless idiot. Although I need a way in, desperately so. Moving without thinking will not only endanger me. With so many unknown variables in what we're dealing with, I also have to act on the assumption that someone is always in danger, especially in this place. Oh, definitely in this place. I can't act impetuously. As much as I hate Wright, I'm not about to cause his death because of one thoughtless action. If there's a place he deserves to be at, it's in a prison, not a morgue. So when a hoarse, painful sob suddenly rings out, above the loud pitter-patter of rain, only then do I stir. A woman. Perhaps a servant? Or worse, Hannah Wright. It's coming from the forest? Just right up ahead, in fact. Not too far from the house. Regardless, I give the place a quick, wary glance before following the noise. Carefully keeping to the shadows, one cautious step after another. Louder and louder it goes as I near. Until it abruptly turns into a loud, desperate, anguished cry. I break into a run. One nervous hand, already on the gun holstered at my hip, and the other raised for balance as I scurry across the dense understory. Dead leaves crunch under my shoes, but I pay it no mind. There's only the voice, the woman, and nothing. Abruptly, it all stops and I'm met with a sudden hush. Blank. Empty. Almost deafening in its stillness. Even with my labored breathing and pounding heartbeats against my ears. Behind me, another branch breaks, and dread surges within me while I spin around and take a hard step back, ignoring the chilly pinpricks crawling at the back of my neck. But before I can even meet her eyes, the world unexpectedly pitches sideways, tilting, and tilting till the ground beneath me finally crumbles. My hands fight for purchase, only to meet air. By then, it's too late. My foot slips further and the rest of my body follows. Dark spots blur the edges of my vision. Oh, God. Black tendrils twist and coil around my limbs. Soft footfalls echo in the far distance, scurrying, scampering, moving in an odd rhythm with sharp, piercing notes of her laughter. But more than that are the voices, lacing venom inside every crevice in my head. Murmurs I jeer, scoff, and deride. Over. It's because you didn't listen. And over. It's all your fault. And over again. Why won't you believe me? A reminder of what I failed to do and who I failed. What I'm trying to desperately fix. A scream that threatens to burst, but my throat closes off. Ever so slowly, a chill seeps into every nerve in my body, washing away every sensation in me, apart from one. There's only fear. Once again, her laughter echoes, a sound both bitter and unforgiving. It's the last thing I hear before she reaches for me. The ground trembles. The world slows to a stop. Oh my God! We're here! Interesting! Half darkness greets me when my eyes finally snap open. The soft patter of dripping water somewhere spurring my consciousness further. For a few short moments, I remained still, blinking away the dizziness, allowing my vision to adjust to the lack of light and my breathing to even out first, before pushing myself up on one arm and attempting to stand. Turning alone is a struggle on its own. An injured movement sends a stab of sharp pain right up my arms and my back, giving me another pause.
Shit. I hope I didn't break anything. Fuck.
There doesn't seem to be any injury or a major fracture, although the whole of my back does feel sore and raw. Probably from when I skidded down prior to landing myself here. Uncomforting thought. The second attempt becomes easier later, though no less painful. And by the time I'm back on my feet, the exertions have left me grasping in short, shallow breaths and leaning hardly on the wall nearest to me. Behind me, a light draft blows in from where I've fallen in, coming in short, sharp bursts into what's apparently an underground tunnel and brings in the fresh, earthly smell of rain from the top side. Regardless, it fails to mask the old, musty scent of this place. A mixture of mold, mildew, dust, grease, and something distinctly foul. Like death. More worrisome than the putrid, festering smell, however, are the cells that line both sides of the tunnel. Under the dim light, I can barely make out what's inside on some of them, but I already have a few ideas, all of which I refuse to delve into at the moment. Knowing how long this mansion has stood, somehow, no matter how unexpected finding the existence of this place is, it isn't too surprising.
I wonder if Scumbag knows about this.
I don't think so. It was never in the plans. Probably not. Unless he's also the kind of person who takes joy in inflicting this kind of suffering on others? I don't really think so. He's rotten to the core, but not that rotten. He'll probably balk at this, move out at the first opportunity, and have it demolished. The very idea of what has occurred in this place years ago makes me reel as well. I've known long ago places like this tend to hold secrets. This, though? If this is just the tip of the iceberg, I fear what I may discover in the mansion itself and the tale behind that fucking letter. My fear is inconsequential. And as unpleasant as the sight of this is, this place might also be the only way for me to get inside unnoticed. Sighing and taking one last gulp of clean air, I push away from the wall and delve deeper into the passage.
Let's just hope it'll be smooth sailing from here on.
Oh. Turns out, alone is too much for an ask for this early. No 20 paces into it, another sound abruptly rises above my footfalls, rebounding off the hollow walls and echoing inaudibly across the whole span of the tunnel, before fading away just as swiftly as it rang. I pause, nevertheless, straining my ears for more of it, while I gradually move my hand to my side, slow and steady until the tips of my fingers brush off the gun's handle. Although cold against my skin, it's the closest thing I had to comfort at this moment. For a long minute I wait, holding my breath, watching every form, edge, and shadow at the corners of my vision for any movement. After a heartbeat and nothing, I allow the tension to ease out of me in the form of a long, slow exhale that reverberates around the whole passage.
Who's there?
Perhaps it's because of what has happened earlier and how I've ended up here, or maybe it's because of my training. But in spite of the panic and fear in that voice, I don't immediately answer. Instead, I pull my gun free from its holster and wordlessly draw closer to where the voice rings out once again. Afraid. Frantic. Weak.
I'm asking you a question. Who's there?
It's only after I release the safety do I answer, while continuing my approach at a careful, steady pace.
I think I should be the one asking you that. Who are you? Show yourself.
I can't. I'm stuck in here.
Well, the ghost will definitely not be saying that, or have a conversation like this, or be stuck anywhere. And as if to prove her point, she extends a hand from one of the cells ahead and waves. Then she pulls back, grips the iron bars, and rattles it lightly.
I can't get out. Can you help?
In 5 quick steps, I'm standing in front of the cell, and sure enough, a woman's inside. Slumped on the floor, holding the bars with shaking hands, clinging to it as if it's the only thing keeping her upright. And not just any woman.
You? McLaughlin?
The same one I met at Jean's 5 days ago, smashed drunk and babbling her frustrations about her employers.
Holmes?
No, not McLaughlin. McCullough. Marianne McCullough, famous interior designer extraordinaire. Not so extraordinary now, with how exhausted and feeble she looks, trapped in a jail cell of all things. Her breathing's shallow and there's a paleness to her complexion. Sunken eyes, cracked lips, dry skin, all signs pointing to starvation and dehydration.
What? How long have you been stuck?
At least 3-4 days. 3s.
4? I don't know. I have no idea anymore. I just fell in and that woman... Whatever. Can you get me out of here? Please.
In a moment. But here, go feed yourself first before you fall over.
I fish out an energy bar from my pocket and hand it to her. She's lucky I always have one on my person. For sudden emergencies or extended stakeouts, a little sugar to keep me going. Like any starving person, she wastes no time in making a grab for it, unwrapping it straight away, and taking in whole mouthfuls of it. Relief washes over her face on the first bite alone, although she's going to do more than that if what she said is true. But for the moment, it's enough to keep her alive. Good thing she seems to have the sense to prioritize survival over comfort, if the puddle in the corner of the cell indicates anything. Without water, the human body can only survive 3 days. No food, and I'll give it about average of 3 weeks. Even then, it won't be a pretty experience. Granted, some have survived longer than that. She's still fortunate I found her when I did. Now to get her out. My bobby pins won't be of any use here. Not like I need it. Unlike the ones we have at the precinct, a simple barrel hinge holds the gates to this cell together. Even without any special tools, I'll be able to lift the door and free her. Oh, make it like a leverage and just pop it off. However, with how heavy it feels, I'll need a lever of some sort to help.
What are you looking for?
Some wood, a 2x4, I guess, a plank or a pipe, anything I can use as a lever. Wait here.
The hallway yields nothing but dust, dirt, and a few rusted chains scattered about. While I may find something in one of the open cells, I'm reluctant to check or even step in. We can't have another person trapped in here. However, McCullough ended up inside.
Well, there's no...
My head snaps back to her. McCullough extricates a wooden board from under the mess of hay and twine near her. Without prompting, she slips it through what little space there is between the bars. It's short, but appears thick and sturdy enough for my intended purpose, upon closer inspection.
Good enough.
I hope. I get to work at once, anchoring the other end of the plank at the base of the door and applying ample force on the other end. It takes a bit of effort, no kidding about the heavy part. Still, a grunt, a gasp, a creak. In a matter of minutes, with a little help from her on the other side, the door eventually lifts off its hinges. Oh, I'm so happy she's okay. It falls on the ground with a loud, ugly metallic thud, but the sound of it puts elation on McCullough's face. She doesn't even ask for help. As soon as she can, she hastily crawls out of the prison she has accidentally found herself in. More than happy to get out of it, despite lacking the strength to stand firmly on her feet.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
I'm so happy she's okay, though. I was like, oh my god, are we ever going to find her? Alright, we'll go to the journal November 1st. The storm had started in earnest when Ashton arrived at the mansion. While trying to find a way in, the detective noticed the eerie silence that has enveloped the place. Something was wrong inside, but before he could figure it out, the sobs of a woman suddenly echoed.
After the second day, I was so sure I was going to die in there. If you didn't show up, I don't even want to think about it.
How
Yeah.
did you even end up here?
For a second, she appears hesitant, looking away and fumbling awkwardly with her fingers.
I was looking for something. Someone.
A contemplative expression flickers in her eyes. Something that's close to wistful, like when a person remembers a memory she's fond of. It doesn't last too long, but it leaves me with the impression that I suddenly walked into something private. Something deeply personal for her. I'd rather not ask.
So this whole tunnel, at the end of it, it leads right inside the mansion?
The wine cellar.
Right into the kitchen, then.
There's a door of some sorts. I don't know. I think I pulled or pressed something somewhere. I was in a hurry. And I'm not sure if it'll open from this side. Hell, this place wasn't even in the floor plans.
What do you mean?
Does that really
Oh,
matter?
sorry.
We have to get out of here. People died in this place. Kids. Oh, God. Kids. I could have shown you, but that thing won't turn back on anymore. It's like it only waited for me to see it before shutting down or something. How long has that thing even been in there? But those poor kids. All because of that thing.
Wait, hold on. What are you talking about right now?
The bloody letter! Ever since I've read that thing, since that day at the open house, she won't leave me. But it should be fine now, right? I broke it. I broke all of it. She shouldn't be able to do anything now.
She's a little crazy now, isn't she?
Mikala, one at a time.
It's all that fucking paper's fault. Oh, God. Oh, God. Dear Lord in St. Adelaide, bless those poor souls. We're not safe here. We need to leave. If we stay here any longer.
Mikala!
Abruptly, she stops, looks back at me with wild, panic-stricken eyes. I've seen enough of it so many times these past few days, from my own friends even, to know she has seen things, the kind that'll easily make any person go mad. And perhaps we slowly are. The longer this takes, the fastest our descent into it becomes. I can't even tell which one's worse, death or this. Seems like no matter what we end up with, there'll be something horrible waiting for us. I need to hurry.
Listen, I need to get inside this place, and you're more familiar with its layout. If you can help me...
What? No! Why would I go back? Are you sure you haven't gotten raving mad yet? An exit's right here.
And this business with the letter has to end at some point. Look, I know you're not very fond of Luke Wright.
Damn right I'm not.
Who is really besides
can
her,
just
besides his wife?
But are you really sure you want to leave him like this?
Yes.
And what about his wife?
It strikes a chord. She falters, grows quiet as the tension lifts from her and her shoulders slump. I do understand her issues with this. In fact, she doesn't have to go with me, only tell me enough info so I can figure it out on my own. She can always leave afterwards, be done with this whole damn mansion and the letter. The other end of this tunnel leads right into the forest. It will provide ample cover for her to be able to slip out of the property unnoticed. All the same, she steels herself and squares her shoulders.
Just until the kitchens.
That's more than enough.
She nods, albeit weakly. Then without another word, she gestures for me to follow, leading me further into the passage. Okay. After his fall, Ashton found himself in an underground passage when he came to. There he encountered Mary and McCullough, who got trapped in one of the jail cells for several days. The detective managed to free her, and in turn, she helped him find a way into the mansion. Alright, so I want to know what happens if we didn't find, like, if she wasn't in there, like, she took the other path, or the other path of her story. Occasionally she'll stop, find purchase on the wall to catch her breath, but throughout the short walk, she asks for neither a break nor assistance. I suppose that's something we have in common. Eventually we get to a dead end, although before I can question her on it, she begins palming for something on the wall, tracing her fingers along weathered edges of the bricks with a frown on her face.
It should be somewhere here, I think.
What the hell are you doing?
She merely holds up a hand, begging for my silence, and continues to search. Then without warning, a few minutes later, something clicks. A portion of the wall shifts ajar to reveal a glimpse of another room. Bottles line the walls, liquor barrels for aging. The wine cellar indeed.
The ladder to the kitchen is on the far end of this room.
Surreal. This all nothing but a surreal nightmare. But after everything, should this even surprise me? Ghosts, curses, hidden passages. I can't even bring myself to question the existence of this door anymore. I simply follow her to the undercroft without a single question, in spite of a number of them already swimming inside my head. As a kid, I used to crave for this kind of adventure. The stuff of mystery and detective novels, daring chases, interesting cases to solve, suspects to put behind bars, justice to serve. I was blinded, I admit. Now I simply want this to be over. We'll leave the door open in case there's a need for a quick exit, especially after she mentions it's only chance that she's been able to open the door the last time. We can't waste time finding the switch again on the occasion something goes terribly wrong. There's bound to be, with me feeling this high-strung and tense. I'm not even sure why I thought it'd be a good idea to enlist McCullough's help. Although she's been quite helpful so far, I can't shake out the horrible feeling something's going to happen to her if she stays with me. Even if I'm her safest bet, she wants to get out of this place alive.
You really believe that, don't you?
Fuck!
Did you say something?
McCullough pauses mid-step, turning to me confused.
I didn't.
You sure? I just heard...
Don't you think I'll be the first person who will know? Look, the ladder leading to the kitchen's up ahead. You might want to hurry. I just want to be done with this place.
See? You dragged another one.
This time I'm sure. There's really a voice. Well, voices. Despite the look of protest McCullough shoots me, I find myself stopping and looking for it, searching the immediate surrounding for the familiar form of the woman. I don't even have to venture far from where I'm standing. Just an arm's length away from me, mirror shards litter the floor. And right on the biggest fragments, they speak. Oh. All singing the same mocking tune against my ears, letting it echo throughout the small undercroft. Murmurs and laughters, jeering, scoffing, and deriding, releasing venom into every crevice in my head, taunting me.
You dragged another person into this, Ashton.
Into another one of your silly
You really have
Oops, sorry.
some hero you are.
All because you can't fix them on your own.
useless.
Pathetic.
You're wrong.
My mistake lies in the first instance I've answered. The very second denial has slipped from my mouth, the words have also seeped into my heart, allowing it to prod at and rouse my temper. Despite knowing that they are merely merely doing this to goad me, each word, each syllable trickle into me, spurring the guilt I hope I've long buried.
Are we? Or is that simply what you've been telling yourself all this time? Something to make yourself feel better, perhaps?
You're the one who took that letter off Isabella's hand that day. You're the one who opened it.
How does it feel, I wonder? To know you're responsible for all of this.
What do you think I'm doing? Why do you think I'm still trying to fix this?
Don't listen, Ash. Just turn away.
It's already too late, and you know that. You know all of this is futile.
Just face it, Ashton Frey. You're a failure, and they are the ones who have to pay for it.
A badge and a gun, and you still can't protect your own friends. Can't even solve a case for an old man.
Can't even bring Luke right to justice.
Can't even keep his own family together.
Okay, that's a low fucking blow. That's something he could not help. Parents split all the time. It's you can't stop that.
No wonder they left you. Before you do the same thing to them.
Mom and Dad are better off without little old you, aren't they? It's a good thing they had the sense.
Pitiful, isn't it? Some detective you are. Some friend you are. Some son you are. You might as well just throw that rank away. You're no use to people either way.
Damn, man. I hate this. I hate how this monster can easily get through to me. Every weakness, every insecurity it knows. To hear it said in my friend's voice, even more so. But what I hate above all of it is...
You know it's true, though.
All of it. It's why all you can do is tell us to shut up. You don't want to hear a single word, because you're already aware of it. You can't even admit it to yourself. Who's the coward now?
But no matter how hard you try, you're not going to be able to save anyone.
I have a feeling McCullough's gonna die.
Not a single word anymore.
In the end, your own incompetence will eventually lead to the deaths of everyone you care about.
It laughs, sharp and piercing. At its sound, something in me snaps. A rage hastily unfurling red, filling my vision. And the next thing I know, I'm raising my hand and... something grabs my wrist, followed by a buzz as another voice breaks through the haze.
Don't listen to it!
The fog from my mind lifts. Every sound, every noise returns to me, flooding my senses. All at once, there is deafening silence. Slowly, I become aware of my surroundings. Bottles of wine, barrels of liquor, the faint old scent of death and decay somewhere, a hand holding onto my wrist, as if to keep me from hurting myself. In my hands, a shard. Blood drips from where it has cut my palm, trailing down my wrist until it disappears behind my sleeve. Not too deep, negligible even. There's a pain, however, a different kind. An ache somewhere else that stems not from the wound, but from where every single word is hit. When I glance up at McCullough, she merely stares at me with wide, horrified eyes.
Don't listen to it. No matter what happens, don't do what it says. It's how it gets us.
My grip on the shard falters, but only after I nod and drop entirely does she release her grip. Afterwards, she simply steps back and looks away, hugging her arms closer to herself. She breathes a sigh, heavy, perhaps weighted with her own guilt, what this monster might have used against her.
Come on, we're getting
Yeah. She walks off without another comment, but there's worry in her as she gives the fragments one last glimpse. On the ground, they lie lifeless now. No more voices, no more insults. But even as I walk away, one whispered taunt continues to ring my ears.
It's useless, Ashton Frey. You are going to die.
And you are going to die alone.
A fear. One that has been long kept at the darkest place in my heart. One that a small part of me wishes for. Alright. Before he could go deeper into the wine cellar, Ashton began to hear voices coming from the shards on the floor, mocking him for his failures. Though before he could do anything rash, Ryan stopped him. Belatedly, he realized he had picked up a broken mirror shard. Alright, we are getting to the end. We're getting close. The trapdoor swings open without much fuss. It is even locked. Probably left over for when Wright asked for some midnight snack. Make sure the coast is clear, of course, before I pull myself and help McCullough up. The butler of theirs is nowhere to be seen. He's probably sleeping, attending to his master, and doing some extra late-night work before turning in for the night. Meanwhile, Wright won't touch anything to do with menial chores. Not even with a 10-foot pole. It's next to impossible for him to linger here. No servants. No anyone. And just as easy as that, we're in. Gently, I close the hatch. If things go well, the path will be our way out. If our luck doesn't hold, that's not an option now, is it? I have people waiting for me. I really don't want to think what might happen. Sometimes it's best if we simply revel in the little victories. They're great blessings when everything else is going against you. And in a place this fraught with unknown dangers, is a feeling that lasts only but a second. Suddenly a sob, ringing out from the distant part of the house, echoing through its empty halls. Bleh. Beside me, slumped on the ground, pale and breathing heavily, McCullough immediately tenses. Her eyes goes wide when she grips the side of the counter with a force that might be enough to crack it, if only she has the strength. As it is, she can barely stand. She hasn't fully recovered. Makes sense of the 3 or more days without proper food or water. And it's the weakness that puts the fear in her eyes. She's aware. If something happens, if there's a need to run, she won't be able to. She's a liability at this point.
Holmes, I really don't think going any further is a good idea. Look at this place. Everything seems fine. Nothing's off. Maybe we should just go? I really don't like the sound of that.
I want to get her out, but we can keep
You
going.
really don't have to come with me. Just until the kitchen, yeah? We're already here. You've done your part. From here on, I'm going on my own.
Yes, I said that, but
Can you even stand?
she doesn't answer.
You'll only be putting yourself in more danger if you follow after me. You have an easy way out of here. Stay here. Once you're okay, I need you to get yourself out of this place.
What? I'm not going to leave you.
Well, I'm not taking you with me either, lady. So it's here or out there.
You really are mad, aren't you?
Probably all will be, if no one fixes this little curse problem we have.
You think you'll find something in here? This is just a mansion, for God's sake.
You see what's in the body. You know what's in here. Don't lie.
Maybe it's worth a shot. Besides, if what we're hearing right now says anything, I'd say scumbags.
Who?
Right. He might be knee-deep in trouble and he has no idea about it.
Makilla still appears as she's about to argue, but instead of more words, I unholster my taser and hand it to her. This is a standard issue for every member of Luxborn Police Force, but it should take a genius to know how to aim and fire one. Even Isabella may just be able to use it without training. Yeah, Miss Interior Designer Extraordinaire stares with it as I just handed her something particularly nasty.
Listen, you want to wait? Fine. I'm leaving this with you.
Better than
But
nothing.
if I don't come back here within 15 minutes, I want you to backtrack and get the hell out of here.
Are you daft, Holmes? I already told you.
In case something goes wrong, I need someone who can tell people what's going on. Who can tell my friends what might have happened here. They're at the crawl. You know the place, right?
I trail off, letting the meaning of my words hang in the air. I want to be optimistic about this, really. However, I'm going against something almost everyone can't quite understand. I'm just being realistic with my chances. Makilla seems to understand this as well after what I've said. Any sign of protest has already died from her tongue, and she simply looks at the taser quietly. After a moment, she just nods. Beyond the walls of this room, the cries continue to grow louder, and I take it as a sign to leave. Without another word, I slip out of the door. Like a siren call, her voice beckons. Finding out who that is seems a good place to start as any. Alright. Upon reaching the kitchen, the crying Ashton heard from outside began anew. Unwilling to risk a civilian, the detective handed Marion his taser and advised her to leave if he didn't return after 15 minutes, even if he himself was uncertain if he would. Yep, we're getting there. I keep to the shadows for the most part. Not that there's any need to. The entire place just feels empty. Odd, when a house this big would have a large staff. You'd think there would be one or two roaming about for some late-night chores, or someone seeking out whoever's creating this ruckus. There's none, however.
Shouldn't they have security posted inside as well?
Unless their security means the butler, though I doubt Scumbag's that sloppy. He loves his life more than anything. Probably more than his own wife. And the things he's done, he's bound to make more than an enemy or two. He's also the kind who'll do anything to keep himself safe. Alive.
I wonder what he'll say when he finds out that there's something not human living with him in his own house.
I don't know, he may or may not know at this point. Potential dangers aside, being on my own grants me a great degree of mobility, which I'm more comfortable with. Sure, I could have enlisted Makilla's help. Next to the people who owns this, she's probably the one who's most familiar with the mansion. But the pros that bring her outweigh the cons. She's better off somewhere at a quick exit in sight. With no tag along, I only have to worry about myself. Watch my back. Selfish, I know.
Necessary.
In the same manner this whole plan is, no matter how idiotic going into this is. Besides, I don't really need a guide when the house layout is fairly simple, mostly mirrored with only a few modifications in the rooms. Although I've only been here once, I think I already have a good grasp of this place ins and outs. As long as you can tell which is east and west, it shouldn't be hard to find my way around. After the dining room, the main foyer should be the next thing that greets me, where the women's cries are leading me. Honestly, after what happened outside, I'm not even sure if I should be trusting what I'm hearing. But with the whole house somehow seemingly devoid of any of its inhabitants, I'm inclined to look into this. More than surviving this curse, a huge part of this is my training speaking.
Just hope this isn't a crime scene I'm walking into.
Who knows at this point? But nothing's ever that simple, isn't it? Not when you're dealing with the supernatural. Nope. Because as soon as my feet cross to the next room, something shifts. Oh, lovely. In a flash, nearly without fanfare. It happens in the blink of an eye. I almost missed it. One moment there's red. The next. I'm standing alone in the foyer. For a brief moment I pause, glancing wildly around the place, blinking twice if my movements will spur the vision back. Yet, nothing. No blood dripping on the walls, none trailing down the stairs or pooled on the floor. No eyes watching my every movement. Only the same cries gradually growing in intensity the longer I dally, along with the voice. Desperate.
Where are you, Mother?
Pleading.
Mother, please. I don't want to be alone.
Coming from the same direction I've heard the cries from. Upstairs. The place is not entirely empty then. A better question is now is who? Definitely not Scumbag or the butler. I meant to see hide or hair of them, and not knowing their whereabouts puts me on edge. I have to be careful not to make any noise or be seen. Maybe the wife? Though I can't really tell if it's her, the way the walls echo her voice. Nevertheless, it pushes me to move. Taking almost 2 steps at a time, despite the sickening feeling that something's lurking behind every great shadow, every small corner I pass. As if the house has several eyes watching my every movement. As if something alive dwells behind the walls itself. Alright. Upon reaching the kitchen, the crying Ashton heard from outside began anew. On alert, he continued deeper into the mansion, even if he was uncertain if he would get out of the place alive. I tried to shake it off, but the uneasy sensation has already made home at the pit of my stomach. Dread, and it only grows deeper the closer I get to her. The relative emptiness of the place doesn't help either. Neither does the harsh wind battering the windows, nor the sheets of rain pelting down the roof. For a fleeting second, I find myself wishing for Scumbag to simply show up. I don't get too far down into that train of thought. Abruptly, the cries stop, replacing it with,
Please. She's here. She's here, Mother. She's going to take me. She won't leave, Mother. I don't
I wonder if this is actually Marion talking. Or not Marion, Hannah.
Mother, she's here. Help.
That can't be good. Adrenaline overcomes me in a rush. In no 2 heartbeats, my feet's already moving, before any sense can catch up or doubt creeps up to me. My hands ready at the holsters and hastily set off for the far side of the hall. One alarmed footstep after another, while struggling to keep that sense of panic at bay. A door lies ajar at the end and coming from the floor above.
She's going to hurt me. Help me.
I do not hesitate. Moving again, despite the lack of light, the steep stairs, or the thick layer of dust kicking up with my every step. I pause only a moment upon reaching the top. Then, without wasting a second, I push the door open. Oh! She sits in the middle of the room, shoulders hunched, shaking. Her hands cover her face as she weeps, oblivious to my presence. Alright, so what I think is happening is she did something to that woman. And in revenge, because the black-haired woman that we saw was wronged, she went after her for revenge. Which, from what we've seen, she might deserve it. Just saying. Her hands cover her face as she weeps, oblivious to my presence. It's as if she has heard neither my footsteps nor the soft creaking of the door, continuing undisturbed, like I'm standing in a time far removed from her. She doesn't even flinch when I call out to her.
Hey, are you alright?
Mother, I've done it, Mother. Take me with you, please. I can still hear her. She's here. Help me! Help me, please!
Belatedly, I notice the blood on her hands. If it's the same one drenching the whole attic, I'd rather not know. How the whole room has ended up like this is the least of my problems at the moment. Even the single human body doesn't have this much blood. So bodies? The thought sends an unpleasant twinge in my stomach. Does Ray even know about this? He's bad news, alright, but I love this song. This music. I was gonna say it sound, but I don't know this song. I like this music. The music is really good in this game. Just saying. This is beneath him. He'll definitely balk at the first sight of it. Anyone will. Yet the woman lingers here, unmoved by the sight, letting her sobs fill the room, repeating the words over and over again like a prayer of salvation. To whom? The mess of parchment she has left on the floor? Just what the hell's happening?
Hey, lady, are you?
The rest of that question never makes it out. I don't even see it coming. Should have been more aware and on guard, really. But there's little I can do when a well-placed blow to the back of my knees makes me stumble. The momentum alone sends me reeling forward. It barely even registers in my head that the woman's gone and the room's as normal as it can be. Not about the pain suddenly shooting up my side when I hit the floor. I don't even get the chance to get my bearings back when a hard enough blow to the stomach causes me to buckle down and land heavily on my knees. Gasping, I fumble wildly for my gun. Although before I'm able to turn, level it, and shoot, a hand grabs my wrist and twists it. Hard. A gasp. A grunt. A cry of pain slips past my mouth. The gun falls to the floor with a thunk. As soon as it lands, a foot kicks it out of my reach and it slides uselessly under the bed. Agony suddenly explodes on my chin, jerking loose a sharp cry of pain as stars fill the edges of my vision. A brief moment and regret hits me for leaving my taser with McCullough when a piece of cloth closes around my neck. Without warning, my attacker pulls. Tight. I'm left gasping, choking, and clawing for air, blindly reaching behind me. Whoop! As I try to fight him off and loosen the pressure on my neck. Except any sort of movement only causes him to pull it taut.
My, so many
Oh my god!
scouring about in this mansion lately.
Alright, let me see this real quick. He probably got McCullough too then. The sobs led Ashton to the mansion's attic. In the middle of the room, he found a woman crouched on the floor, crying. Cautiously, he approached her, but as he was about to reach out for her, someone grabs him from behind. Whoops, why'd I do that too? I didn't... Okay, writes Butler. Shit!
Tell me, what did you do with the madam?
I have no idea what he's talking about. Did something happen to Hana Wright?
Let go, you asshole.
Now, Dummkopf, you're in no position to be rude. Last time I checked, I'm not the one breaking into other
other people's
question.
homes.
What did you do with the madam?
You're choking him. Is he really going to be able to answer? The pain rings and resonates through my already sore body. Still, I managed to ride out in spit and mutinous.
You.
Keep that dirty mouth babbling and you're getting a knife in the kidney. I assure you, it will be more painful than this.
He really doesn't need to threaten me by now. It's all too much to bear at this point. My lungs feel like they're burning with the lack of air. Dark spots begin to fill the edges of my vision. Ever so slowly, the world around me dims. My consciousness rapidly slips away from me. And without meaning to...
Get away from him!
Hearing that voice is as if I've been doused with a bucket full of ice. Cold water. Familiar. Too familiar. And more importantly, it shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be hearing it here. She shouldn't be here. Immediately, my eyes snap open. And right there, right on the attic's doorway, stands Isabella, of all people. Rolling pin in one hand and a standard issue police taser on the other. My taser. She must have borrowed it from McCullough. Where else could she have gotten one? I doubt she's ever used one even. Hell, the way she holds it right now, this guy can easily disarm her in one hit. But there's something in her. In her eyes. Although there's a look of fear in them and her hand shakes, she keeps the weapon trained and pointed at Scumbag's lackey. Untrained or not, she does not plan to leave her without putting up a fight, it seems. Admirable, really, but it's not something we need right now. I need her to be away from here. I need her to be safe. But the chances of that happening grow slim with every laughter that slips from him.
Oh, this is just getting better and better. The Bratwurst won't be pleased with the number of bodies we have to dispose of today, you know.
What?
Tell me, how many of you are there? So I can prepare the proper number of bags.
Damn it! What the fuck is going on? Why is she here in the first place? Did she follow after me? Who else came with her? Zach? Rebecca? Are they all here? Oh no! Panic surges within me. She knows how bad the situation is, but does she really have to run in here and expose herself like that? Does she even know how to use a taser? For fuck's sake! More than worrying for my life, it's her I'm concerned about. Getting strangled, dying by choking isn't part of the plan, but her following me here isn't either. This is why I prefer to do things alone. This is why I'd rather be the only one to take the consequences. I don't even know what to think as what this bastard might do after he's done with me. Although my voice comes off nearly a croak, I try to tell her as much. She has to leave. Stay far away from here and these people.
Don't! Damn it, Isabella! Get out of here!
Another bout of pain erupts on my side, cutting off my words. A cry of agony bursts from my mouth. I can taste blood on my tongue as I heave, attempting to get in as much air despite the towel still coiled around my neck.
Ash?
You're going to lose air quickly that way, Dummkopf. Better keep it shut.
Get out! 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 Val!
Don't be stupid! I'm not leaving you here!
He laughs, too cruel, too unforgiving. The way each note beats against my ears, in spite of the warmth in them, it sends chills down my spine. This is a man whose hands have already been stained with blood before. He won't hesitate.
I'd follow his advice if I were you, little girl. What could you possibly do with a toy? Just hand it over and be on your way. It'll probably be too difficult for a little girl like you to use.
There's a moment of silence. Fuck, I can barely keep my eyes open. But in the next second, though I still don't know exactly understand what's happening, Isabella shouts. Not a cry of pain, not a yell of panic, but one that's resolute, firm, perhaps in a tone that's leagues fiercer than any I've heard from her before.
Try me. Ashton, duck!
I do, more out of instinct and desire to survive, closing my eyes before my mind can fully process what's going on. It all happens in a blur. The telltale sound of a taser being discharged sounds through the room. The air crackles. Something whizzes by, almost too close to my ear, followed by the thud of something blunt connected solidly with another object. The next thing I know, the towel strangling me has started to loosen. I collapse on the floor, dazed and gasping for air. From my peripheral, through the haze of blood rushing and sound slowly filtering back, the butler buckles. He spasms once. Then, without much fuss, falls face first beside me, knocked unconscious by 50,000 volts of electricity in a fucking rolling pin. He'll be out for a while. I have no idea whether I should laugh or cry at that. Somewhere in front of me, my oxygen-deprived brain vaguely registers Isabella's form. She slumps on the floor, also breathing heavily. Alright, so everyone's here! Lovely! Not what we were expecting. Attempting to fight back, but his attackers quickly disarmed him, looping a towel around his neck and strangling him. But just when he was about to lose consciousness, a familiar voice rings in the room, and... everyone's here! Yay! Somewhere in front of me... Oh, there we go. Right next to her trembling hands, both the taser and the rolling pin lie useless and forgotten, while the mood in the room eases. A long, gradual process of the tension lifting. For countless seconds, we remain quiet, with only our short gasps and sighs to fill the silence, allowing the adrenaline to ebb away and both our breathing to slow. Not a true response by any means. Whoops, fuck, I always do that. But simply a brief respite. There's still the curse. We're still inside the mansion and in imminent danger. We still have no idea how to fix this. Outside, the rain seems to only intensify. Lightning flashes fleetingly somewhere, white and piercing, and the sky rumbles. No rest for the wicked. I stir first, once recovered, have regained some semblance of sense and strength. Breathing still hurts, but it's bearable, as is moving. Although every small motion causes a wince, there will be bruising tomorrow. I can manage. Retrieving my gun from under the bed is easy, but only with some effort I'm able to drag an unconscious man to the far end of the room, slapping one end of a handcuff on his wrist, while fastening the other to the bed frame. That should keep him restrained for a few hours, in case he wakes up prematurely. All through this, Isabella stays quiet. In fact, she hasn't moved since. Her hands still shake and taking in long draws of breath while she stares vacantly in front of her, almost as if she's in shock. Perhaps she isn't even expecting any result, spurred only by some kind of desperation. Now it's sinking in. Unfortunately, we need to get moving. We don't have time to wait for everything to register in our heads. Kneeling in front of her, I gave her a light shake.
Belle, we need to go. You can't stay here.
Slowly she turns, staring at me with wide eyes. Worry flickers briefly in them along with something ineffable. Then, without warning, she lifts a hand and slaps me right across the face. The sound of it cracks the air, shattering the silence like a fragile glass breaking. Despite the familiar rumble of thunder outside, it manages to ring even louder than the storm. I don't even know what hit me, until my head has already snapped back and my cheek stings with her anger. And it is anger. In spite of the stillness and the lack of words afterwards. Not fuming, though. Fuck, I keep doing that. No, go away. Never fuming, but the kind that burns lightly and soundlessly. A frustration instead of a seething rage. One that ebbs just as quickly as it flows. And once the tide subsides, there's only that gleam in her eyes. Warm, steadfast, and unflinching. Quietly, I brace myself with the truth underneath that gaze. It slips from her lips softly, nearly fading under the sound of the rain that's still falling fast, if not for the weight in each of her words.
What is wrong with you?
Belle,
If Zach didn't slip up, no one would have known where you went.
Belle, one person knowing is enough. Any more than that, and
You almost died. He could have suffocated you right then and there, and you could have died.
I told Zach to give me 4 hours. That would have been enough time to...
It would have been too late. And by the time anyone ever finds out, you're already fertilizer.
She trails off, drags in one drawn breath after another. A brief lull as her frustration finally gives, dissolves into something more pensive and somber. Her shoulders droop, and though her voice rises hoarse and weary, in her next words, there's only certainty.
You count too, you know. When I said, that night when I told you I don't want to lose anyone anymore, that includes you, alive. We're still here, Ash. You have us.
Once their meeting, fall, roar, it does so not with force of a dam breaking or a raging storm, but with the gentle, steady warmth of a heart burning, an ember easing slowly, lightly, rising and giving until that's all that's left is a truth. An understanding, not alone. Never alone. It lingers, even as we both drift back into silence and her words, fuck, why do I do that? But because in the gratitude that swells after is another warmth blooming, pleasant, welcoming, like finding home, like finding ourselves in the haze as a squall has left, creating something fragile yet immutable in both of us. It's in her eyes, in the way she holds my gaze, unwavering, in the way she carries herself despite sitting amidst a place she fears, in the way she keeps herself from trembling and falling apart because fear is inconsequential when people she cares about are at risk. A change. She realizes that now, holds on to it. Another little thing, another small thing from her that may go unnoticed and pass by quietly, but will eventually amount to a lot of things. Tiny gestures that mean nothing at first, but begin to matter to me one day until... Oh. Despite myself, a small smile slips from my lips as the same warmth from earlier unfurls in my chest. Unhurried, familiar, and bright from all these years I've carried it, but I've never given the words for it.
Stop smiling like that, Ashton. I'm not done scolding you.
But this time they come easy.
I heard all of it. Don't worry.
Are you really okay? That guy hit you a little too hard on the head. Here, let me...
I reach up just as she extends a hand towards my face, catching her wrist in a light grip, drawing it closer, folding her hand in between mine. Oh, he's gonna go for it. Although her expression does shift into mild confusion, she does not pull away like I'm expecting. She simply stares at me, searching. For her to allow a gesture from me that's perhaps too close, it tells a lot of how far things have already shifted in the past few years. Cradled in mine, her hand still trembles. Most of the tremors has always subsided by now, though I doubt it'll fade away this soon. Even as I trace the lines in her palm, and what I hope is a comforting gesture.
I'm sorry, Belle.
For what? Is this about what happened tonight? You can apologize later when...
No, well, this too, but it's...
Yeah, he's gonna go for it!
It's for a lot of things. For calling you clumsy, and careless, and a scatterbrain.
Are you sure this isn't a concussion?
You would think that, wouldn't you?
Well, you don't usually apologize.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry about that too. For all the times I've teased you and made you cry.
Unexpectedly, her fingers tighten around mine, our hands falling between us as something tender shifts in the air. Another exhale. Another drawn breath eases out of me, filled with every hesitation and uncertainties. But when I finally choose to break the silence, it's only when I know that what will slip past my mouth is the one truth I will hold against the world.
But for all those callous words, despite all those, there's nothing I don't love about you.
Oh!
Those things, I love those. And everything.
Oh!
Everything that's you.
For a long moment, she offers no response. Her grip on my hands merely tightens. Although my heart's pounding hard against my ears, I take a chance and look up, slightly leaning away and giving her a cautious glance, more than ready to hear her rejection. And it is one, despite the smile on her face, if it can even be called one, of course. There's a pain aspect to it I can hardly name. Regardless of what it means to her or what she intends to convey with it, the sight of it only alone makes me regret ever mentioning anything. It's almost as she's forcing herself to push out the next words out of her mouth for the sake of not hurting me. Not that I won't be able to take it, but if these feelings will only put a heavier burden on her, I'd rather not have said anything at all. As expected, with one last squeeze as the hand cradling hers, she pulls her hand away from mine. When she speaks, though, there's a stark refusal to meet my eyes. You ain't winning it. No one's winning here! Rebecca doesn't get him. He doesn't get Rebecca or Isabella. Not that I hold it against her. The situation's already awkward as it is.
Ash.
She pauses, biting her lower lip. A small frown forms between her eyebrows while she struggles to find the right phrases to string together.
Ashton, I'm really sorry.
Oh, no, it's cool. I was already expecting that. Kind of. But you don't have to...
No, I mean, I can't. I can't afford to think of anything other than helping my family. Especially now that Papa's gone. They're going to need me more than ever, Ash. I'm sorry. I really can't. Not right now.
I've always known it would lead to this, to some extent. Her family will always come first. Who am I to take that from her? It hurts, of course, but the pain eases, knowing that despite of circumstances, her heart will always be in the right place. And she's still the same woman I've fallen in love with.
It's alright, Belle.
Oh, it hurts though! It hurts so much!
If it still matters, that's actually what I love about you. Of course, not that I'm expecting anything by telling you that, but you get the point. Yeah.
Thanks, Ash. I mean, thank you for loving me.
Oh, it hurts. Her response is a smile and a soft laughter, perhaps the sweetest I've seen and heard from her. Just from it, I know nothing will change despite her answer and any lingering feelings that will come from this. And there will be. Lingering feelings, that is. There's always going to be those. But the way she barged into our lives 5 years ago, it'll probably be enough to leave a terrible impression on anyone. But that's also precisely it. It's people like her that you don't easily forget. It's them that gradually worms their way into a person's life, until the very thought of losing them becomes unbearable. As it is, I'm already content simply staying by her. No grand expectations or hopes attached. Just the banter, the small smiles, and the quiet little moments that roar. I love her, but that also isn't all there is to us.
I know I caused you all kinds of trouble these past few years.
Yeah.
Whoever told you I'm doing this for free? After we're done with this curse thing, you're gonna owe me a year's supply of ice cream.
Yeah, we'll see.
Another laughter, this time from both of us, as she hits my arm with a light punch. Familiar, warm, bright and hopeful, much like everything about her. And it is strength enough to keep me going as I head to lead us both out. Alright, I'm gonna end this off here. So, let's just say I knew that this was gonna happen. Like, not her rejection, but someone actually posted a screenshot, and the guy who made the game, I'm following him on Twitter, he reblogged it, and it was of Ash kissing Isabella. So it's like, maybe it could have happened, but I don't know. Like, I don't know. So I wasn't sure if it would happen with me or not, but I think because maybe our relationship with her isn't that high. Like, it's not maxed out or anything. So, who knows? But thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like if you liked it. Leave a comment if you liked it. And I'll see you guys in the next episode. Bye!
And I'm tired of it.
Sometimes I wish you never even came here. Because
Damn.
all you've given us is a headache. You know why I had to come here. My dad. Your dad has nothing to do with this. It has always been you and your whiny, careless self that has always been the problem.